Welcome to another episode. So this is Kuji talking, and we've got the team of UFO here. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Fly the Elephant.
I am Sergey.
Alrighty. So in layman's terms, can you guys explain what UFO is?
UFO is a fork of Bitcoin. So it offers pretty much all of the things that Bitcoin offers, but in kind of a smaller market cap package. But we've added on our own tweaks to it to get things to work a little bit better.
Okay. Now, what's UFO stand for?
Uniform Fiscal Object.
What was? Do you guys have like a quick history behind the coin that you guys can give me? Who started it? When it was first formed, or just the concept formed, and why the initial formation of it?
That I don't really know. It's kind of hard to get information on that because not anyone that I know of is still around that was involved in the formation of the coin.
So has it just been mostly like community inputs as far as development goes?
Just a bunch of different developers kind of doing what they thought was right, talking to the community, getting things up to date. The current phase of development started in 2017 when Peter Bushnell came onto the project and started maintaining it, upgrading everything. It had been abandoned for a little while, so there's a lot of work to do to get it up to the current standard and try to add on all of the systems around it that you need to be able to access more advanced features of Bitcoin, layer 2 networks, things like that.
Okay. And he was working on the Feathercoin project originally, right?
Yeah, that is correct, and he's still the lead developer of that as well.
Okay. So is this another primary focus for him, or is he more like a consultant on the project?
He's the lead core developer on this project as well.
Okay.
As the founder of Feathercoin.
Okay. And then I'm going to dive into some of the cool features that you guys have in just a second. But what would you guys say is the primary problem that you guys are solving with this cryptocurrency?
Kind of difficult question to ask because we're kind of trying to solve the exact same problem as Bitcoin is solving, but we want to solve it in a way that's more in keeping with the original idea that was behind Bitcoin, which is to be a peer-to-peer decentralized money where the users of the coin were involved in keeping it secure, involved in the consensus systems such as BIP9, forks, things like that. We want the users to be able to have a say in what happens with the coin, and to do that, you can't really have specialized hardware that your average user is not going to have access to.
Right. So is that also why you guys went with proof of work rather than a proof of stake, or is the proof of work just because it was a hard fork?
Well, we don't really think that changing from proof of work to something else would really be fair to anybody. You kind of have to stick with almost entirely the rules you started with, unless miners wanted to not get as many block rewards.
All right, let's go into some of the, I guess, the technologies that you guys have built in. You guys are using Neoscrypt, which is, I think, also used on Feathercoin, correct?
Yeah, that's a creation of Ghostlander, initially used on Phoenix Coin.
Okay. What is the I guess the primary advantages of using Neoscrypt as opposed to some of the other ones like Lyra 2 or any of those other supposed, ASIC resistant
Uh,
algorithms?
Lyra 2 currently has two different companies with ASICs. I think one of them is already shipped, but I don't know if people have gotten them yet or spun them up. It's been a couple weeks since the last time I looked at that, but here pretty soon, ASIC should be coming online. And with the ASIC that they're selling now, I think when I did the math, somewhere around 1,000 of them would be equal to all the GPUs on the entire network. Um,
Jeez.
yeah, so the
Yeah.
Lyra 2 coins that are running that kind of need to switch if they want to stay ASIC resistant. Uh, Vertcoin is saying that they wanted to wait until they developed a totally new algorithm before switching, which I think will be kind of hard to do because if they wait that long, then almost all the hash power is going to be from ASICs, and they're going to vote no to
Right.
making their ASIC obsolete.
Yeah, it's better to get ahead of it. So
Yeah,
Neoscrypt is primarily ASIC resistant for now.
for now.
Do you guys plan on changing that once ASICs are able to mine on Neo?
That would be something that Peter would kind of have to answer. He would be the one either doing that or not doing that, unless somebody
Okay.
else wanted to step in and try to fork the coin to a different algorithm. That's a pretty tough question to answer.
Yeah.
Um, I know that Ghostlander has said that he is working on a fix to obsolete ASICs if they come into play. Don't know whether his solution will work or not, or whether he's going to come up with a solution, or whether the ASICs will be able to adapt around it. Uh, but he was talking like it would be relatively easy to implement a fix into Neoscrypt.
Okay. I'm sure just a few, variables here and there could turn it very ASIC resistant quite quickly. Oh, so the
Exactly.
time warp manipulability. Can you expand on that and what that is? And that's just pulled off of the website there.
So we run a difficulty adjustment that adjusts every block, uh, and uh, it's weighted. So there's different uh, numbers of blocks that it's checking averages of, and trying to come up with a good difficulty for every block to try to keep things running on time, to keep the block rate steady over longer periods of time.
Okay. The last two, automatic checkpointing. It says it's the vital feature for any coin preventing transaction rollbacks from 51 attacks. How does that work?
It's kind of a system where the checkpoints will kind of lock in a previous history to where it's not really possible to change it because everyone's agreed on a checkpoint, and that is basically a hash of the history before a certain block. So our checkpointing, I believe, is checkpointing everything 5 blocks back and before, and locking that in with the hash to where someone in the future can't 51% attack the network, change the history, and try to get everyone to accept that as the new reality and get rid of, what they used to consider to be reality.
Okay. That makes sense. And then the enhanced. Oh yeah, continue.
I'm not 100% sure of that, but that's at least my understanding. Um, I would have liked to have gotten either Peter or Ricardo in here because they could elaborate further on that.
All right. Yeah, we might grab them in a second interview at some point. The enhanced hash rate calculation. It says that there's a adjustment for the difficulty.
Yeah, that's our difficulty adjustment that we were talking about earlier.
Okay. All right. So, what are you? Just going in more into the project. What are your guys' current struggles or foreseeable roadblocks in the future of UFO?
One of our struggles is kind of a shared struggle with all of the other coins in crypto right now, in that the drawback on pricing has caused a huge drawback in community activity. And
Yeah.
we were a pretty small community to start out with, so we're even smaller.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've noticed that there's been like a huge, and just in the general crypto world, community activity has definitely dropped significantly.
Absolutely. Our development activity has been going up, but the community has been going down because no one's really willing to, hold on to things until they're done
mhm.
going down. Um, it does kind of look like we're done going down, but you never really know. If the rest of the market wants to, continue panicking, then
Mhm.
we might continue going down a little bit more.
Do
But
you
I
see
think we're
a?
kind of flattened out. It as the drop has been going, we've been flattening out the whole time. And we're pretty flat now.
Do you guys see like a rise in just overall market or Bitcoin specifically will affect kind of the growth of the UFO community?
Not really sure. I think that when Bitcoin goes up, the altcoins don't necessarily all go up, but once a lot of altcoins start going up, then other ones start following. Um, it's very hard to predict that.
Yeah. What are you guys doing outside of that just to, I guess, market? And do you guys have a set marketing team? Or are you relying mostly on the community to market? Do you guys have a budget for that kind of thing?
We don't really have a budget for anything. We do have some holders that will provide funding to certain things if they like it. But we're currently looking for people who are interested in marketing and enjoy not getting paid, since we're kind of a community thing.
Yeah. So it's this
We're
is all
hiring everybody for $0.
so this is all very community driven. There's not like a foundation or anything like that.
That's correct.
Okay. Do you guys plan on having a foundation to improve development, or just run
We've
everything kind of
talked about
free
it.
as?
We've talked about having a foundation. Um, Consensus is kind of mixed on that. A lot of people don't like the idea. Some people do like the idea. Um, my thoughts on foundations is I think they should be founded not by a development team, but just by members that want to start their own foundation. We could have multiple foundations. I
Yeah.
think that should go on kind of outside of the development circle.
I like that concept of it, giving more power back to the people, essentially making it more of a democratic coin. Um, who are your primary blockchain competitors right now?
That's very hard to say, because currently in market cap, we're somewhere around the 1000th largest coin. So if you kind of look around the area looking for, something that's competitive, there's not really much down there that is even up to date or has any active development going on.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to determine what our competition is kind of a mind exercise of trying to figure out, what we're trying to do with our own coin.
For sure. Do you guys have any, I guess, similar coins out there? Not necessarily close in market cap, but I mean, since you're like a hard fork of Bitcoin, do you see other coins, other currency coins, possibly taking over some of your market cap?
I don't think we're really at threat of them taking over our market cap because of our size being so small. We can kind of just float around where we are and not really have to worry about, some huge coin taking us over, because if any huge coin could completely take us over, there's 1,000 bigger coins that could have already done it.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
Um,
That UFO is just very, very community based. It doesn't sound like you guys are too, I guess, too interested in trying to hype up the price or anything like that. You're not really trying to manipulate things or overhype community or do anything, that a lot of these other ICOs and that are coming out do, where they're just talking about price, trying to pump it up. So it's kind of a nice refresher here. Hearing more of just like this is a community, this is a family, and everyone's working for basically nothing to get this project done because of the love of the project and the concept behind it.
yeah, exactly.
I personally believe that the hype is probably a good way to earn money for someone, but it has nothing to do with the real value of the currency, because the real value is grown from the projects around the currency, around the coin, the
Mm-hmm.
infrastructural projects, and something useful to end users.
I agree as well.
Yeah.
It's all about adoption and uh, giving capability to the users so that they can do the things that they want to do with the currency.
So, looking into the future here, what plans do you guys have moving into like the next year, like 2019 UFO? What does that look like for you guys? I know that it's, you guys are more community driven, but is there a roadmap of sorts that you guys have out, or any kind of plans for 2019?
Our plans are kind of to continue adding features and compatibility with more systems, continue our development pace that we've already got existing. Um, since we don't have a central entity, it'd be kind of difficult to come up with plans as a group. Certain leaders could come up with plans, and that would kind of be their agenda. But the core is kind of up to date at the current point. So all of our plans revolve around things that attach on the outside, other protocols that enable new things outside of the core chain. Um, so
Okay.
we're about to launch a test net so that we can start testing more experimental things and verify that they work before we deploy them on the main chain. Um,
What were, because you guys just launched a new update? What did that update contain?
just all the same little feature improvements of the 017 Bitcoin update. As I understand,
Gotcha.
nothing that significant, just little tweaks here and there. Um,
Okay. Do you
so
guys? Do you
also
guys?
currently we're working on adding components for compatibility with layer 2 protocols. We're working on building a end user friendly interface for on-chain atomic swaps.
Nice. That'd be good. When are you guys anticipating atomic swaps being possible?
Their BIP65 swaps are already possible. We're integrated into BlockDX, which does BIP65 on-chain atomic swaps directly from your wallet to any other coin that anyone's willing to trade you with. That is also capable of BIP65, which is also integrated into their system.
Okay.
And if someone's industrious enough, they could already do their own BIP65 swaps even without that system. But we don't have any good tools to do that yet. That's why we're trying to build a good user-friendly interface, because I think that's the biggest barrier to atomic swaps, is that I don't think anyone's really hit the nail on the head with trying to build something that the average person can load up and just get going and be able to swap without huge amounts of knowledge
Yeah, I know that
and typing on the command line and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, the end user, it's really just, people that have been in blockchain for a while or developers that are able to do atomic swaps. So having something that's more user friendly, just a very friendly UI, would be extremely beneficial in the space.
Definitely. If your atomic swap has to be done on the command line, then the only volume you could have would be developers swapping with other developers, and that not really useful for anything until you've built those interfaces and really streamlined it and made it to where even someone who doesn't even know what an atomic swap is will be using it. That's really the holy grail there, is having people not even know what an atomic swap is that are doing it.
You asked about the plans for 2019. I can say that in 2018, Peter did a great job in upgrading UFO wallet and UFO core software, and I think that year 2019 should be the year of the user-friendly interfaces in services around UFO.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that's gonna really help with global adoption and spreading a lot of these coins. I think, yeah, that the UI thing is gonna be huge. Yeah. So dev team is pretty much all volunteer. Um, a couple of them, it sounds like they work on other projects. Is it primarily a crossover with Feathercoin?
That's correct.
Okay. Do they have a large stake or holdings in UFO, or is it pretty much just, the same advantage as everyone else? Has there been any funds given to development, even in the initial, like a pre-mine almost, or anything like that given to development?
I think there was a really small pre-mine back in January of 2014 to the original developers, but I'm pretty sure it was less than 1%.
Okay.
And the odds of them still having that now are pretty low.
Yeah.
A much bigger worry would be, some holder who has accumulated a huge amount during the time period where there was no development going on, and it didn't look like there was going to be any development going on back in 2016, early 2017, before Peter came.
Now, if Peter leaves or anything like that, would that be kind of like a death note on UFO, or would there be enough developers that kind of jump in there? Do you guys have a large enough team to take over what he's already started?
I think so. It would be a big loss losing Peter, since he's so good at doing what he does. But the core code base, he's done a very good job of getting everything as close as possible to Bitcoin, and keeping all of the records of everything in the GitHub. So if someone else had to step in and start applying the new commits from Bitcoin that come, after whatever version he was to leave at, which I don't think he would. It would be pretty straightforward to continue the procedure as he has been doing it. We might not be as good as him at it, or as knowledgeable about all of the things that we were actually doing, but I think it could still get done without him.
I think that there's definitely stuff to say about the passion of the community, and as blockchain tech as a whole just kind of makes a rebound. I think that we're gonna have a lot more passionate developers trying to find their space and find a community to plug into and really be a part of a project. And with UFO being very community driven, I could see that being something where someone would actually go in, fill the shoes of Peter. Worst case scenario. All right. So what are you guys' own personal reasons for joining UFO? What was it about the project that made you guys want to come on as essentially your volunteer staff?
I came on because I saw how cheap it was trading, and how good of a job I saw that was being done on the code, and the fact that Peter was involved. I kind of just, looked at the fundamentals behind what was going on, and didn't really think that, the fundamentals lined up with the market capitalization position. I saw that, stuff that was going on was more indicative of, coins that were way higher market cap than UFO. So huge upside potential. I came on, started doing whatever I could to, fill in gaps where people were focused on other things. I tried to see, what else needs to be done.
Okay.
I can confirm the same, and I can say that the main reason for me to join the UFO team was the trust. The trust not in the coin itself, but in the people around it. Those who develop and those who try to expand UFO to different people.
Okay.
I also agree with that. In some of the bigger coins that I had been holding, and I still do hold some of them, there are times when I felt kind of unsteady about the path they were taking. They'd make crazy decisions, or say they were going to do something, it just never gets done. With a lot of other much bigger coins, top 100 coins, I would see things that would kind of scare me away. I didn't feel confident that that the development team was telling people the truth of what was really going on. And here, people say, I'm working on this, and then beta pops up, or all the patches are getting done. We've gone from Bitcoin 2013 era, I think was where we were at when Peter stepped in 2017. We've gone all the way up until releasing patches same day sometimes as Bitcoin's got it out.
Okay. Now, do you think? I mean, since it starting, I guess more in 2017. Do you think the lack of funding, just because it's very much of a volunteer community, do you think that has a dramatic effect on kind of your market placement at the current moment?
I don't really think that that's what's going on. I think that a lot of the coins that do have funding, most of the time they're not achieving any of their goals. I think that the market kind of currently desires fantasies and not reality.
Right. Definitely. I mean, there's speculation on top of speculation in the market, so yeah, I'm just wondering, like, do you think there's any is there any FUD behind UFO because it was dead for so long, or do you think that all of those worries are kind of put behind you guys now that you have a new development team?
I think that would totally depend on how much you'd looked into what's going on. I think that there is FUD in an indirect form. So there's like a website called deadcoins.org, and it's got us listed as abandoned in there. And I've never been able to get a hold of them. I've been trying to get a hold of them for months, months upon months, try to let them know, like, look, we're, just as active as Bitcoin on core, uh, on the core. We're working on all these new projects. Uh, we're not dead, and I can't make an account there. I never get the new account uh, email. I've tried emailing them, no response. So I think that there's a little bit of our past that's still lingering on the internet that, you know, in places that are not maintained, uh, that leads in that direction. Also, we've got some links like our announcement page on Bitcoin Talk was started by a member who's not there anymore. So he doesn't want to update the announcement with every new patch. We've got little things like that, where we've got accounts places that are no longer in service because we've been around for so long.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, how if you could like have people help you guys in like the most significant way, what way would that be? Just to spread awareness and help with the development of the coin. What would you guys be looking for specifically?
I think that the most beneficial things we could have right now are a more active community, people that are working to build the community, um, and people that have experience in marketing. Um, because we're kind of a bunch of tech dorks that are trying to wrap our heads around marketing.
Yep.
Uh,
That always seems to
and
be one of the major causes. Like you've got, the tech teams that are like, this is game changing. Like, this is a great project, but everyone is technical. No one's got the, I guess, the creatives to really be able to push the coin out and get more adoption.
yeah, and I think that also with the marketing, it's kind of hard right now because uh, the market wants these ICO high in the sky dreams of blockchaining their dog. They don't want a functioning product
Right.
because they don't know what they're doing, um, and it's pretty difficult to appeal to people that want this magical blockchain gun or blockchain dog or whatever it is that they're dreaming of or have been marketed to by people who are really good at marketing something that makes no sense at all. uh, it's hard to compete with that. If someone can be convinced that they want something that's nonsense, and the majority of people are running around in circles between these nonsense ideas, we really need some people with a small fraction of the talent that it takes to convince people that they want something that's nonsense.
Yeah.
At least a small fraction of that talent. And once we get that, I think that we can start building a larger community, um, and maybe even just the market in general beginning to you know look a bit better. Um, if the market does recover, I think community will start growing, because everything that we do to build the community, as Bitcoin goes down, people are wanting to sell their Bitcoin for dollars. and then they're no longer in the community. So we get a lot of people leaving that don't have such a long mindset on their investments.
Okay. How do you guys go about and like picking your staff? Is there like an official, a non-official official staff? Like in the Discord, Twitter, like the people that manage that kind of thing. Is there anyone that appoints that, and how do you pick who belongs on the staff? Is it just community input?
Seems to be based upon discussion. Someone will bring something up, and then other people decide whether they agree or not. We've got a core group of people in a Telegram to discuss development related things. And it kind of just seems that, when we see people that uh, seem to have abilities, we'll see if they fit and try to bring them to where we think they can do the most good for us
Okay.
and for them.
Do you guys have any outside partnerships with other businesses not on blockchain or even on blockchain? Any kind of partnerships at all that are helping increase adoption?
It'd be kind of difficult to partner with a company if you don't have a company.
True.
Since we have no foundation, and it's not a company or an ICO or anything, um, there wouldn't really be anything for the other partner to partner with.
Do you guys have like a any companies that are adopting you in that sense then, or any projects that are actively using the UFO coin?
Not at the moment, but we currently have a beta for OmniCore that's been worked on. That allows the creation of token assets on the UFO blockchain. Um, so with that growing, we can probably start uh, having companies spawned out of UFO.
Okay.
Okay.
I would like to add, I think that the next year will be a changing year for UFO in a good way. I think that there will be several new projects coming, and I think this will help us to improve the adoption. And well, let's just see what happens next year.
Sounds good. Yeah, 2019 is going to be a very interesting year for crypto for sure. Either way. All right, and just a couple final questions here. Are there any misconceptions that are out there about the coin that you guys would like to clear up? Aside from, it's not a dead coin anymore. You guys have revived it.
Not that I can think of.
All right. And going back a little bit, I did want to touch by it. Why Bitcoin as a fork? What attracted you guys to the Bitcoin fork? That might have been way before your guys' time, but if you have any knowledge on that.
There's no way that I could really say why the people that initially forked the code of it was initially forked from Litecoin, which is
Okay.
forked from Bitcoin. But we're now closer to Bitcoin than Litecoin. We're following the Bitcoin code base. Very difficult to say for anyone else why they would have done that. But for me personally, I think that since Bitcoin's been around for the longest, it's kind of more proven as a protocol, and it also has the largest team of developers in all of crypto. Most of the crypto developers are working on one Bitcoin fork or another. So,
Yeah.
in terms of being able to keep it up to date and secure, I think it's got by far the best proposition to continue into the future.
All right. Well, that is pretty much all that I have for you guys. Is there anything that you guys want to add to this? I mean, doesn't sound like you guys would really have any, secret announcements or deals or anything like that. Since everything's very community based and, there's not really a hidden dev team here. But yeah, if there's anything that you guys want to add to this, you guys are more than welcome to.
Not that I can think of immediately. I can go through my notes and see if there's anything in there.
All right, and it looks like we've pretty much answered everyone's questions. We had a few people text in, but I think we've already covered all that. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure, and yeah, hopefully, maybe we can get Peter out on another podcast later down the road.
That'd be great. Thank you for having us.
All right, have a great one.
Thank you. Thank you.
You too. I enjoyed this.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.